As I mentioned earlier, Ryan Wesley Routh had expressed support for Ukraine. He did that in dozens of posts on X. He traveled to the country. And in a newly surfaced video from 2022, he went so far as saying he was willing to die in the war there. Take a listen.
Putin is a terrorist, and he needs to be ended. So we need everybody from around the globe to stop what they're doing and come here now and support the Ukrainians to end this war.
Last October, Routh began trying to enlist Afghan conscripts to fight in the war using social media, presenting himself as an off-the-books liaison for the Ukrainian government. Newsweek Romanian journalist Remes Cherna met the man who'd been detained in connection with this apparent assassination attempt in Ukraine, actually met him on several occasions, stayed in touch with him, and told CNN he was surprised by Ryan Routh's alleged involvement in this incident. Saying, "For me, it's a surprise because I viewed him as an idealistic, innocent, genuine person without any murderous instinct." And that journalist joining me now via Skype from Bucharest. I think we were all struck by that observation. Walk us through a little bit more. The person who you met and then ultimately stayed in touch with, what was your impression?
I met him in my first day in Kyiv in June 2022. I've been there for 15 times since. He seemed to me to be an idealistic person, a genuine person who wanted to support Ukraine, and this is a good cause, of course. But sometimes we can see this in history and in many other cases. Sometimes an idealistic person can become a fanatic, open to do horrible things for his cause. And it's important to understand that it's not enough to have a good cause. It's also important to serve this cause with democratic tools, let's say. And violence, it's forbidden, it's prohibited in democracy. We have elections. Honestly, I don't like Trump. And if I would be American, I would vote against him. But I want him to be defeated in elections in using democratic procedures, not violence or attempting these kind of attempts on his life. Ryan seemed to me to be an idealistic, and maybe he pushed too far his ideas somehow.
So in terms of that, when it came to his ideas, you mentioned the former president. Did Ryan Routh ever bring up with you his feelings about Donald Trump?
No, as I remember, but he was a bit disappointed by the fact that Ukraine was supported by Western countries enough to resist to the Russian invasion, but not enough to win the war. And of course, this feeling is widespread in Eastern Europe or in Ukraine. Of course, Ukrainians are thankful for all those who support Ukraine, and I support also this cause. I think that Ukraine should win this war, should expel the Russians from all of the Ukrainian territories. And this is a good cause. It's an important cause. And we need a strong United States and a strong democracy in United States, because if United States is weak, everything bad can happen in the world. So this supposedly attempt of Ryan is weakening United States democracy. So that's why it's a very bad thing that he did. I hope that the support for Ukraine will increase in the next few months and years in order to help Ukraine to win this war.
You mentioned that someone like Ryan Routh, who you described as an idealist, you noted that sometimes an idealist can become a fanatic. Yeah. In staying in touch with him and speaking with him over the last couple of years, did you sense that he was becoming a fanatic?
No, that's why I was very surprised when I saw in the news what happened. But I saw that he was open to do some, let's say, not so legal things. You mentioned a few minutes ago his attempts to He's trying to get some people from other countries to join to the Foreign Legion in Ukraine, but in doing so, he was open to do some illegal things. He asked me also to do some not so legal things, and of course, I didn't accept such kind of things. So he was open to do for a good cause, to do bad things for a good cause.
Can you elaborate on that beyond trying to bring in, other
Yes,
foreigners to fight for Ukraine? What else was he suggesting, and even suggesting that you do?
Yeah, he suggested something that anyway I couldn't do, and I'm not able to do, and I don't want to do, to help some people get the transit visa through Romania to Ukraine. But of course, I rejected this without question, without any other word.
Was there anything that he was suggesting that was of a violent nature?
No. That's why he said that he would die. He would die for Ukraine, or he would sacrifice himself for Ukraine. And it's true that there is a risk in Ukraine. Every day is a risk in Ukraine. There is a saying that it states that you never know if your name is written on the next missile or drone there in Ukraine. But he has no military training. That's why I wonder how he thought that he can shoot someone. I understood that he had a gun because he has no military training. So that's why he he wasn't able to join to the International Legion.
Was he, when he wasn't allowed to join, did he talk to you about that? About how, was he disappointed? Was he upset? How would you describe him?
In that interview that I did with him in June 2022, he told me that he is unable to join International Legion because he has no military experience, no military skills. So it's in that interview. So I wonder how he thought that he can do something with a weapon. So I don't know details. I don't know how skillful is he, but I suppose he's not so well skilled in this in using a weapon.
Remister, really appreciate your insight today. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much.